Is this the most perfect micro four thirds travel photography setup? Let's find out. Hey friends, Gary here. Welcome to today's video. Currently, I'm in Bali, Indonesia, having vacation with my wife Nora. Please say hello to Nora. But anyway, we are just relaxing here, chilling here, eating some nice food, taking a little bit of photos here and there, visiting the beach, swimming, enjoying the hotel, walking around, exploring the hotel area. We just enjoy our downtime right here. No crazy stuffs going on. We're not going to waterfalls. We're not going to busy locations to favorite photo spot. No, we're just here in the hotel area because we actually want to recharge. We want to get away from the busy and noisy city life. We just enjoyed so much right here. And yeah, photography is not the main priority of this trip, but that doesn't mean that we're not taking photos at all. Actually, I've been doing a little bit of scenery photography, documenting my trip with my cameras, specifically my micro four thirds camera and lenses, taking a little bit of portraits of my wife and just capturing snapshots here and there, and hopefully be able to preserve the memory of this particular vacation. And I thought I want to share in today's video quickly my travel photography setup for this particular Bali trip, which is different from my previous Bali trip setups, which is very interesting if you think about it. Same destination but different lenses. Also, before I depart to Bali, I made a specific travel packing video of my camera and lenses, which you can check right here. And also, spoiler alert, it's very different from what I'm actually carrying right now. So you want to check out that video before you continue with today's video, and I will reveal what's different about this particular setup. Now, before we dive deep into the individual gear that I will share, I just want to let you know a little bit about the philosophy of this current Bali travel photography situation. As I mentioned before, photography isn't the highest priority in this particular trip. We just want to rest, we just want to relax, we just want to enjoy our time in the hotel, which was really beautiful. We just want to enjoy some relaxing time in the beach, and photography was just a little bit of a tool to document our travel moments casually and also very minimalist. We don't do banger photos. We didn't visit any locations at all where the usual tourists will go and take stunning photos. No, we didn't do any of that. We just stayed at the hotel and relaxing. So photographing the vibes, the sceneries, a little bit of portraits of my wife, food photography to document the delicious food that we ate in Bali, that kind of stuff. Very minimalist, very relaxing photography, just a way to document the travel moments. And also as a form of entertainment. I want it to be fun, I want it to be engaging, I want it to be almost like a replacement to scrolling on your phones or playing video games. This is a sort of entertainment that I want to have that's also relaxing and fun at the same time. So that's travel photography for me in this particular trip. I don't want to stress too much about it. Oh, I have to capture the perfect exposure. No, I said everything raw, and that means with raw I will need to do a little bit of post-processing when I get back to my home, but at least on location I don't have to worry at all about nailing the perfect exposure, about dynamic range, about challenging lighting situation. No, not at all. I can just relax and treat my camera almost like a point and shoot camera. Just point, snap the photo, done. I don't need to think about it. And that's why I set my camera also mostly to aperture priority or shutter priority. And also, as I mentioned before, I want photography to be engaging activity, fun activity. And that's why I use different lenses. I will go on each individual lenses after this, but each of these lenses has a purpose, and that makes it more fun for me rather than just using one zoom lens or something like that. I want a little bit of that tactility, you know. I know that I will miss a little bit of moments from changing lens, that's to be expected, but we're not doing high action photography anyway. Everything is just relaxing. Taking a few seconds to change lenses is not a big deal at all. Anyway, here are all of the cameras and lenses that I used during this particular trip to Bali. Let's begin with my main photography camera, which is the Panasonic Lumix G100 right here. So it's the same camera as the one that I used on the previous Bali trip. I think G100 is just the perfect travel camera in my opinion. It's not really that much bigger or heavier than my lightest camera, which is the Panasonic Lumix GF9, but it packs so much features that I think is really useful for travel photography. This front position, shutter button and command dial with this very beefy grip makes it so comfortable to grip, to handle the camera for a long period of time. Lots of manual control options. We have this command dial right here and also this rear wheel right here to change different kinds of settings, and then a dedicated PASM dial, a viewfinder, a fully articulating screen, which is very appreciated for the ability to be very flexible, especially with vertical compositions. You can do things like this. You cannot really do that with some other cameras that don't have fully articulating screen. So I just love it so much. Very compact, very lightweight. The 20 megapixel sensor I think is more than good enough to capture all sorts of different kinds of photos. It's just so gorgeous. And also, my main lens is the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7. It's the same lens as the one that I showed you on the packing video. And I think 15 is really great because it is a moderate wide angle lens. It was able to capture so many different kinds of stuffs with just one lens. It's very similar focal length to the main camera on most of modern day smartphones. So if you're familiar with that, this feels like home for you. F1.7 aperture is just large enough to create a little bit of a background blur. 15mm is not overly too wide in my opinion. For portraits, that kind of stuff, it doesn't cause too much distortion, although a little bit of distortion is present. I love this lens so much. It's so flexible compared to the 14mm f2.5 that I used on my previous trip. This gives you slightly better performance, slightly bigger aperture, and sometimes it's just nice to use this lens instead of the 14. But 14 is better for ultimate compactness because it is so small, so tiny. It's basically a pancake lens. But the 15 performed well as an all-around lens, and I'm so happy with it. Now here's the elephant in the room, which is the TTArtisan 10mm f2 lens for micro four thirds. It arrives just in time before I leave to Bali, and yeah, special thanks to TTArtisan for sending me this lens. But anyway, this lens also worked wonderfully well during the trip. I just didn't expect that 10mm is so versatile. I mean, I already have the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7, and that is a versatile ultra wide angle lens. This takes it up a notch, even though it's only 1mm in terms of difference, but I can use it in a very similar manner with the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7. Anything that this guy can do, the 10mm can also do. And although it is wider and sometimes it can introduce more distortion if you're doing close-up photography, I still think this is fun and engaging and absolutely a beautiful lens. Image quality, no doubt, with ultra budget lenses nowadays you don't have to worry too much about it. It's just the manual focusing that's causing a little bit of issues, but for me ultra wide angle is not too bad when it comes to manual focus. If you don't want to worry too much, you can just set the aperture to f8, set the focus to infinity, and anything you capture will always be in focus. That's my trick. And when you want to do close up, switch back to f2 and do proper accurate manual focusing. Yeah, quite happy with this lens to capture all sorts of things from scenery all the way to portrait, food photography, all that kind of stuff. It performed beautifully. Another MVP on this trip that I use a lot is the Panasonic Lumix 35 to 100mm f4 to f5.6 mini telephoto lens for distant landscape, for just close-up photography, just things that requires a little bit of a zoom. This lens works so well and I love it, to get that different kind of perspective. It's small, it's lightweight, image quality is perfect. I use it for a few shots and I'm quite happy with this lens. Next is my video camera. Now it's different. On my previous trip to Bali, I used mostly my phone, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5, for recording B-roll videos, and just use the action camera for a little bit of A-roll video, for talking head, and also for underwater video as well. Now I use this guy a lot more for capturing B-rolls. I just realized that the Action 4 is actually very flexible and convenient to capture video. Even though it's ultra wide, the lens captures so many things in the frame and it's so wide, but it is still, very useful and very convenient. I really value that for this particular trip because I don't want to be too stressed about trying to capture the perfect B-roll, that kind of stuff. I just want something that I can use on the go quickly without having to set too much settings or take a long time to boot, that kind of stuff. The Action 4 works really well and I kind of appreciate it more as a video camera nowadays, even more than the DJI Pocket 3 that's currently recording this video, even though the Pocket 3 is technically better and this doesn't have the same amount of image quality, quote unquote. I still enjoy using this for travel and maybe in the future I will use it even more frequently. Also, my Sling bag, which is the Alpaka Go Sling Mini version 2 that I use to carry my camera equipments as well as my travel essentials such as power bank, chargers, cable. I think it works really well both during transit day and also during the trip, for me to carry all of those essentials and just be able to have it with me at all time in this nice little bag that doesn't look like a camera bag, which is very important to me. It is just a regular sling bag and also weather sealed without any obnoxious branding. It's just so perfect and I really enjoy this bag so much. It's so roomy. As you can see inside, I have a couple of DIY dividers that I made using dividers from my other camera bags. So I use it to separate between different lenses and also the camera, stuff like that. I have enough space back here for an iPad mini, I believe, but I don't have an iPad mini. I just use it for my spare phone and power bank. And the front pocket, I just use it for small essentials like cables and chargers and power banks, that kind of stuff. And then the rear pocket is for boarding pass and other important documents. Yeah, very handy bag to use during this trip. I love it. And yeah, if you guys are interested to purchase this bag, I have a special affiliate link right here. It can give you some discounts while at the same time I'll get a small kickback to help this channel running. Besides the Alpaka Go Sling Mini version 2, I also used a backpack for my everyday essential as well during my trip to Bali. It's called the Matador Refraction Backpack. It's a packable backpack. I cannot show it to you right now because I'm currently washing it. But yeah, the difference between that backpack and this sling bag is that I use the backpack when I want to carry a little bit more stuff, especially Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, so that I can work during the trip using my phone as a laptop replacement and be able to get some stuff done while relaxing on the beach or in the restaurant or something like that. That's very nice to have as well. Anyway, before I end the video, I just want to share a little bit about what I think about this overall setup. Does it work well during my trip in Bali and what needs to be changed? First of all, I can say that in terms of versatility, yes, it is so flexible. I can cover anything from ultra wide angle all the way to telephoto in this setup. Video is also covered well with the DJI Action 4 for both talking head videos using the wireless microphone, and also for B-roll, as I mentioned when I deep dive into the DJI Action 4 individually. Yeah, in terms of versatility, no problem. In terms of fun factor, it is so fun. As I mentioned, each lens has their own kind of purpose, their own kind of function, and differentiating between these lenses makes it so fun, makes it more engaging, makes it more, enjoyable in my opinion. Because yes, you will need to change lens when you see something different and you want to be able to capture everything, but the point isn't about capturing everything. It's not about being able to do run and gun, bam 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 bam, capture everything. No, it's not about that. As I mentioned before, it's about using photography as a replacement to video game and scrolling in social media, as a form of entertainment. So it needs to be fun. And yeah, the fun factor, the tactility of being able to operate different lenses for different kinds of purpose, I think that's so great. Yeah, manual focus adds a little bit into that tactility feeling, especially with the TTArtisan lens. And thankfully, this is an ultra wide angle lens, so manual focus is not really a big deal. And yeah, speaking about size and weight, this particular setup is slightly bigger and heavier than my previous setup to Bali, and maybe next time I wanna try the opposite direction, trying to go even more minimalist. Maybe switch the G100 to the GF9, although the GF9 doesn't have as much feature as this guy, and maybe use all pancake lenses. I don't know. I just wanna try the opposite direction now that I've already tried this particular setup. And yeah, a little bit of a drawback. I missed a little bit of that 25mm range, the normal kind of focal length, yeah, with the 20mm or 25mm. For some kind of situations, for example, food photography, and also for environmental portrait of my wife, I think that would work better than 15, and I don't have anything between 15 to 35. But from my previous experience, I remember that I never actually used my 20mm during my previous trip at all, and I tend to favor the 14mm instead. So yeah, we'll see next trip how it will turn out. Will I still miss that 20-25mm focal length, or will I just be okay with a similar setup like this one? And that wraps up today's video. So those are all of my camera and lenses that I brought to Bali, Indonesia, how they perform, and my philosophy behind the kit. Hopefully this has been inspiring, interesting, entertaining, and fun to watch. But enough about me. What about you? Please share down below your favorite travel photography setup, your favorite travel camera and lenses. I love to read your comments. I love to learn from you. Anyway, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. And if you want to support my work even further, which I will appreciate so much, please consider joining my Patreon membership, and also check out my latest travel photography course called Simplifying Travel Photography. Use the affiliate links down below, or use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. Thank you very much, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.